1, 2, 3, ha! I'm Ray Lewis from Square Deal Farm. We're here in my sugar house where we make our pure Vermont organic maple syrup. I've always wanted to have a farm from when I was a little kid. I don't really know why, but it just seemed like the right thing for me. And going back in my family on both sides, my mother and father's side, pretty much everybody but my parents' generation was a farmer. And so it seems like it's really in my blood, and I think that's a lot of it. You know, when I talk to other farmers, you know, it's something they can't really describe why they do it. They just do it because that's what they're meant to do. When I married my wife, Sarah, we decided that we would try to buy a farm. We were living in Burlington at the time, and we spent a lot of time driving around looking at different properties, different farms, and this one really spoke to us and it worked for us. It seemed like the perfect spot. I really like Walden. I really like this area. We were completely infected with the large-scale sugaring bug and decided to build the sugar house that we're sitting in right here. And anyone will tell you is that sugaring is a slippery slope. You can't help but get deeper and deeper into it, and so we went from 3,000 taps to 5,000 taps to 7,000 plus taps, and we're looking at some more expansion possibilities for next year that might get us close to 10,000 taps. For me, I think one of the reasons I really like sugaring is that it's one of the few things that's self-sustaining. You know, we get the sap from our forest that we use to make the maple syrup, and we get the wood from our forest that we use to boil it down. It's really important to take good care of your woods because obviously that's where your raw material is coming from. So a huge part of what we do starts out there and really taking care of that resource that takes care of us. So we start with that, and then we have a pipeline that goes pretty much to every tree, every maple tree out in our woods, and that pipeline collects the sap when the sap is flowing, and the sap comes down to the pump house where we have a vacuum pump that's creating a negative vacuum differential to bring the sap downwards towards the pump house and into our collection tanks. And we process the sap through the reverse osmosis machine, and then it goes into a storage tank that's elevated above our evaporator, which is right here, where it then flows by gravity and is cooked over a wood fire. We try to really incorporate modern ideas and look at everything that comes down the way, but we're also very traditional about the way that we make maple syrup. We still use wood. I think it's unusual for a sugar maker of our size to use wood, but to me it's a really important part of the process. There's a lot of things that influence the flavor of maple syrup that you're making. I think that probably the biggest thing is the soil, the mineral content of the soil. You take that sap and then concentrate it down to the essence that is maple syrup. You're concentrating all of the flavors, and there's always a way to make it better. You know, I think that when I was 20 years old, I probably figured that when I was 45, which is what I am now, that I would be doing what I am doing right now. And I'm a pretty long-term planner, and I think that's a big part of farming. You have to have a dream, and you have to be constantly working at it.